What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? We're back in action, baby, live every day. Well, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to take some Mondays off because we're going to be hammering horses on some Saturdays. But I'm very, very thankful to be back with you guys on the daily. I expect my ROI to rise. Capping with you guys every day. Thank you so much for joining us. We got Marlon Z in the house. We got Buzz Nuts, Brian Warner, Kelvin Lima in the house. Lamar Williams back in action finally. JoJo Rich, Ulysses Hayes, Gerald Jones, Ray Charles, Earl Sports Bets, Dylan Turner, my man Turnsy down in Windsor, Jordan Nordman, Gerald Jones, Paco Healy, Rye Cape, A. Hilly, Puzzler, a.k.a. Canas Cat. We got Twate Latte, Mr. Ghoster, Levi Kressler, Brian Warner, Guillermo Zertucci. What a great, great group. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We have a beautiful card for us to attack today, and I'm ready to get to work. So how we're going to do our schedule here is we're going to start with NHL, go into NBA, and then talk March Madness. We're not going to have a lot of time to talk March Madness today. We'll talk about the first four games briefly. Tomorrow we'll talk about the second four games that are on Sunday. And then on our Friday show, we'll spend quite a bit more time. I've already made 3 moves in NCAA. I made 5 moves in NHL. And in NBA, I've had sort of a tough, maybe 5 or 6 weeks. And it's because I haven't been capping it every day. And when I was capping it every day for the last 3 years with you guys, we were successful. All 3 years I ended up double-digit units. And so I'm very thankful to be capping it every single day with you guys. But I want to take it slow. I don't want to jump into it, with 10 bets here. I want to take it slow. So that's my plan. It is so great to see you guys. Let's get right to work. We're going to start with NHL. And I've hit 8 of my last 11 bets. 4 of them have been, plus 115, plus 127, plus 110, and plus 130. So I'm close to getting back in the black where I know I'm going to be. No messing around. I know I'm going to be. My average line on the year is plus 127. I'm 73 and 84. I'm minus 1.62 units on the year, minus 1.03% ROI. But I'm telling you, it's going to go up, and especially working with you guys. So great to see everybody. Viper NB in the house as well. Yes, Guillermo, lots more horse shows coming up. We've talked with odds, and we're working on a couple things too, some special exciting things that we'll talk about. Earl Sports Bets is on the Kings minus 102 and Winnipeg minus 139. I did move on the Jets minus 1. We'll break down these games. BT saying Baylor women's is free money. My girl's crushing spreads from BT, making moves on Baylor women. Some of these books will give you limits on the female college basketball bets, but there's our man BT eating. That's what we do together. We work together as a team. And there's Mr. Ghoster up nearly 30 units himself in NHL. Great job. Let's get to work. Paco Healy saying Ottawa, a decent home dog. We're going to start with that game. J-Rock in the house as well. Thank you for joining us, J-Rock. All right, so let's get right to work. Let me pull up some extra help with the odds movements, and let's go. Here we go. Move right to NHL. Unc Oliver. Look at that. Lucky Lefty Tata Booker back in action. It's so great to see everybody. Man, this makes me extremely happy to be back in action with all y'all. Okay, let's get to work. We're going to start with Flames Senators, and I'm going to get through NHL pretty quickly. I know that it's NBA that's the most popular spot here, and then, of course, NCAA action. Twatty says hockey time to take a dump. I get it. Mel Moneyline says Flames bounce back, low-scoring loss, can see it again. And Dylan Turner is on Sabres team total over 2.5. Interesting look. It's not where I'm going on that spot, Turner. But let's start with Flames. I'm on the Flames -1 at -112. So Earl was able to get a money line of Oh no, that was the Jets he was talking about. So I minus my money line's minus 170, and my puck line was plus 140. Right now, that plus 140 is still available on the puck line, and the money line here is opened up at minus 175. It's still at the minus 170 that I took it at. So for me, this is the best bet on the board. If those of you who don't bet hockey are interested in tailing something, maybe it's the Jets. Maybe you make a Flames Jets money line parlay, and that's against my home team, the Canucks, the Jets who are playing. But the Flames, I think this is a slam dunk spot here for the Flames. The Flames are 15-3, 7-10-2 at Ottawa Senators, 11-20-3, 7-6-3 at home. We're at the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. Jacob Markstrom, 12-9-2, 2.87 goals against average, 903 save percentage, 2 shutouts. And the big problem with Ottawa is what's going on in goal. There's Birdie in the house, penny bombs on Minnesota -1, Vancouver money line, and Kings money line. Interesting that he's backing the Canucks with the injury situations. Maybe they get Horvat back. We will get into this right now. There's Kevin Pine joining us as well. Love seeing everybody. Okay, Uncle Oliver, our man Lucky Lefty's on the Suns first half. We are going to break all this down. Let's get through NHL and spend a lot of time on this giant NBA card. So we have the issue with the Senators, and we'll get into it more in a second, is their goaltending. Matthew Murray, their number one's been out since March 10th with an upper body injury. He's week to week. Number two, Marcus Hogeberg has been on IR since February 18th with a lower body injury. Then they lose Joey Daccord, who'd been good. They lost him last week. He's done for the season with a lower body injury. So that takes us to the Penguins' second-round pick, I think, of 2016. Philip Gustafson made his NHL debut last week when Daccord got hurt. So here, Gustafson's had a cup of coffee here. He's 1-0-1, 0.75 goals against average, 977 save percentage. In Belleville this year, he's 2-4-0 with a 2.68 goals against average, 909 save percentage. He's also played in the Swedish Elite League this year for Södertälje, and he was 11-7-0 with a 2.30 goals against average, 919 save percentage. That's a lower scoring league. Last year in Belleville, he had a bad year. And Mr. Gogster's in the house. He's from Belleville. He can give us a better idea about this. There's Ben Martin ready to get to work. There's Ski Profit, and that was good. Ski's going to be here. We're going to be into NHL here. We're going to be in NBA here in probably about 15 minutes. Dan Monaco says, any Loshak sightings? Well, now that I'm going live every day, there will be a definite Loshak sighting here on the show. So Belleville last year, he went 15-6-3 with a 3.23 goals against average, 889 save percentage. The Sens power play 14.4%. Their penalty killing 75%. Flames power play 20.2%. Penalty killing 80.4%. Daryl Sutter is now being behind the bench for 7 games. We know what Daryl Sutter's like as a coach. He puts his work boots on. I don't know if he sleeps at night at the creek. He gets to the arena at the break of dawn, and he expects everybody to be there working. And they won the first 3 before losing 3 of 4. They've scored 1 goal over their last 2 games. They're coming off a disheartening 2-1 loss to Ottawa 2 nights ago. This is the final game of a 4-game road trip, and it's a must-win. Daryl Sutter is going to smack them all in the face. He runs a tight ship. There's a huge difference between returning home off a 2-2 road trip or coming home off a 1-3 road trip following 2 straight losses to the lowly Senators. This is an absolute must-win for the Flames season. And Sutter's going to preach it to them that way. The Flames are going to win tonight. This is a really nice opportunity for us to make money. I've got them on the -1 line at -112. There's a problem with this team. Don't get me wrong. Elias Lindholm, your leading scorer. He centers the first line. This was supposed to be Johnny Hockey's team. This was supposed to be Sean Monahan on the first line. When Goodrow isn't scoring, what's he doing? He's 5'9" and 165 pounds. He needs to light the lamp. He has to be a menace 5-on-5, not just on the power play. He has 6 goals, 7 assists, 5-on-5 this year. That's not going to cut it. 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points in 33 games. Monahan, I was in love with him when he came out of the Western Hockey League. This guy's supposed to be the big scoring center that's going to lead this team to glory. He has 7 goals and 20 points in 31 games. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. We got Al Mack joining us as well. And we've got some great stuff that we're going to be dropping during the show. Some great articles of trends and stuff that Al has put together. So Sean Monahan, 7 goals, 20 points. He's got to be the number one center. He's not. Mark Giordano, 2 years removed from a Norris Trophy, but it feels like 5. He has 13 points. It's a -8 on the season. He's a -5 over his last 3 games. This team is not elite, but they're good enough to come into Ottawa and save this road trip. Ottawa is playing its best hockey this season. They've won 2 of 4. They could easily be on a 4-game winning streak. They've done this all without their top 3 goaltenders. We talked about that. So this kid, Philip Gustafson, let this weak goal to Johnny Gaudreau 2 nights ago and then shut the door the rest of the way, made 35 saves. Can he keep that going? Can he? I'd be surprised if he could. He shut the door the rest of the way. This team has a strong core that was only going to improve. Brady Tkachuk, Thomas Chabot, their 3rd overall pick, Tim Stutzla. They can be built around Drake Batterson scoring at the NHL level. Ottawa's rebuilding the right way as we watch Buffalo rebuild the wrong way. So very quickly, this, I think, is the best spot on the entire board, at least very close with the Jets might be right there with them. But I think this Flames is just it's a lock-in spot. So that's how we start. There's Alex Ramirez in the house. JR ready to get to work. So Flames -1 at -112. That's how we get started. And then we have this Ducks Minnesota Wild spot. And we've already heard from Birdie, a spectacular capper, NHL capper, overall capper, but it's really good in NHL. And he's on the Ducks +1. I'm not going that direction. I'm on the Wild -1.5 at +110. And let's see what the market moves are here. The Wild opened up at -230. They're now -260. So this -1.5 is it +105? I got it at +110. And Al Mack is on the first period over in the game. Sens are 23-9-2 to the first period over. And let's just pull up a couple things here. So here we go. This is top 5 NHL teams to bet after a loss. This is from our AM Plus Money Lobagger that got rolling with us when I was down in Costa Rica. I'm going to pop it in the chat right now. This is a top 5 NHL teams to bet after a loss. All right, let's talk about this Ducks Wild spot. And the way these teams are playing, I could understand taking an under here, but do we really think that Ryan Miller is going to continue playing this well? I don't. And playing this well, I mean just the last couple games, because overall this year, he's 3-6-1 with a 3.51 goals against average, 880 save percentage. It's easier for these guys to be starting consistently. And when Miller's was a starter for his whole career, now he plays briefly because of John Gibson, and now that Gibson's hurt, he's going to play every day. So his numbers might possibly improve. We got about 10 or 12 more minutes on NHL, and then we're going to take a lot of time with this NBA card. Ducks 9-18-6, 4-7-3 on the road. Minnesota Wild 19-10-1, 11-3-0 at home. And I'm on the Wild -1.5 at +110. I'm going to fade the Ducks as much as possible. Cam Talbot 7-5-1, 2.54 goals against average, 918 save percentage. He's splitting up the games with Capo Kakkonen, and Cam Talbot was in this last 2-1 victory over the Ducks. I expect Kakkonen to be back in that 12-5-0, 2.29 goals against average, 921 save percentage. Ducks power play very weak, 11.5%. Their penalty killing 75.8%. The Wild power play is abysmal, 9.3% power play, 85.2% penalty killing, which is why I can completely understand if somebody was going to make a move on this under. Let's just take a look at it right now. The under 5.5 is at -115. My issue is I just don't trust the Ducks and Ryan Miller. But without Dumba, are the Wild going to score a bunch of power play goals? That 5.5 is probably live. The Ducks are a bad hockey team. They've lost 6 of 7. Their last 3 wins have come in overtime. They haven't won a game of regulation since February 11th. That's 19 games. They played as well as they can play in a 2-1 loss here in Minnesota on Monday. It's sad watching Ryan Getzlaf out there. He has 3 goals, 9 assists. He's a -8 in 31 games. He's 35, but he looks like he's 45 the way he's playing. Gordie Howe is having more productive seasons at 52 years of age than Getzlaf is having at 35. Getzlaf's brother, Chris Getzlaf, retired in 2018. And I know that's your older brother, Ryan, but maybe you should follow suit. They've been dealing with an injury and Chris Getzlaf, slot back, Saskatchewan Roughriders, CFL, baby. They've been dealing with an injury to number 1 defenseman Hampus Lindholm since February 27th. They're 3-10-2 without him. They've been outscored 64-37 in those games. And now this could change, right? Because COVID is such a fluid thing where the information is changing quickly. But Ben Hutton and Jacob Larson were added to the COVID list after the Wild game. So you have Hampus Lindholm out. Then you're going to take out Ben Hutton and Jacob Larson. So what? It's going to be the Kevin Shattenkirk show? If it's the Kevin Shattenkirk show, Kevin Shattenkirk is going to shat the bed, and the Wild are going to cover the -1.5. Birdie saying this is a value play, too good to pass up with the trends. Ducks playing well. Look, and there's Tata Booker in the house, so great, and C-Mac also. So look, if the Ducks have Hutton and Larson, I can understand it because the Wild aren't playing well. But I don't. If they don't have them, this is a walk in the park for the Wild. Wild were on a 5-game winning streak. They had outscored their opponent 17-4 when they rolled into Colorado last Thursday for a 2-game series and were just destroyed 11-1 over 2 games. They were destroyed. Then they come back on an 8-game home winning streak and barely get past the lowly Ducks 2-1. So they now have a franchise record 9-game home winning streak, but they're not playing very well. And I don't know if Dean Evison is like that hard-nosed of a coach, but I would be screaming in these guys' faces. They're not playing well. They get no production on their power play. Bill Guerin has to be on the lookout for an offensive center. Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Zuccarello are top-level snipers, but someone needs to help them out. They don't have Marcus Foligno. He's out due to injury. That hurts them very badly. I expect this team to beat the lowly Ducks with a chance of a 10-game home winning streak on the line. All right, so that's my second spot here on the card, Wild -1.5. At +110. Then the bet that I probably like the least is the Pittsburgh Penguins -1.5 and -110 that I made, but I'm on them. And they're out, says the puzzler. So our man Kanaskat says Hutton and Larson are out. Come on, how? I mean, Birdie, even with now you have no Hampus Lindholm, no Ben Hutton, and Ben Hutton's been playing well. No Ben Hutton and no Larson. I can't imagine how the Ducks can pull this off. I just can't imagine how they can. So here I'm on the Penguins -1.5, but what I like better is the under 6. The under 6 at -120. It's now at -125. It's juiced, and I get it. I can understand why. At that point, if I was dealing with -125, I would take a look and see what the under 5.5 is and see if it's a nice big plus spot. Fat wins on the first period under. Here, I'm on the -1.5, and I literally, after I bet it, I was like, do I really want to back a Penguins team that's missing their second and third line centerman? It's now -115. I got it at -110. The fact is, Rob Watkins says, got to take Pitt, Mini, and Winnipeg. I like those looks. The fact is, Buffalo's a train wreck. And so we have the Sabres 6-20-4, 4-9-2 on the road at Pittsburgh Penguins that are 19-11-2, 12-3-1 at home. We're at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And it's going to be Dustin Tokarski, who's going to be between the pipes. And those of us Canadians remember his only glory in his career, that 2009 World Junior Championships that he won that was here in Canada. Tokarski with Wilkes-Barre Scranton this year, so this is last year, because he's been dealing with all these injuries. And this year, in Rochester, he's played 2 games. And then in Buffalo, he's played 1 game. And I like backing these 31-year-old journeymen who earned their spot between the pipes. He's only played in 35 games in his life in the NHL. But the fact that he's played so few games this year really makes it hard to trust him. Tokarski last year in Wilkes-Barre Scranton was great. 9-5-2, 1.97 goals against average, 924 save percentage. But again, it was these injuries that hurt him so badly. Jesus A saying over in the Pitt game. I can understand that because of the Sabres' power play and because of Tokarski in net. But if it's Yari or DeSmith, they're both having good years. DeSmith a little better at 2.10 goals against average, 919 save percentage. Yari 2.86 goals against average, 909 save percentage. Sabres power play at 25%. It's the only good thing going on with this team. Their penalty killing 76.4. Penguins power play is 18.9%, but they have no Malkin, so it's not going to score at a high level. And then the penalty killing 75.8. Okay. The Sabres are an absolute mess. They've lost 14 straight. They're coming off a 5-3 loss to the Rangers on Monday night. Losing's following this team around. They're without Jack Eichel for the foreseeable future. They're dealing with injuries to Tobias Reeder and Kyle Okposo. And I can't believe Okposo is still around. He's got a cap hit of $6 million. He's just 32. He's not playing good enough to have a job in the NHL. Another terrible contract that the Sabres have. And Reeder hurt. But their biggest issue is in net. So Ullmark is going to return tomorrow night. And it'll be interesting to see if we can start backing unders with Ullmark and goals. It'll be interesting to see how he changes things, because he will change things. So I expect the boys to play hard for him, 31-year-old journeyman for Tokarski. But the Penguins have no Malkin and no Bluger, so they're 2-1 since they lost Malkin to injury. 3-1 if you count the Bruins game that he got hurt in the beginning of the first period. In those 4 games, they have scored 7 goals. I was on the first 3 unders. I wasn't on the last under. That was a mistake. I wasn't on the over, but I didn't make the move on the under. But they're doing exactly what we expect them to do. Tight, conservative hockey, take advantage of the few odd man rushes they get. It's very difficult to play without second, third line center, and they're already without Jason Zucker. This is a team that already lacks depth. Sidney Crosby still leads the way, so you're going to get effort and accountability from this bunch. So Dylan Turner taking the Sabres over 2.5 on Small and Sabres first period. I will not bet the Sabres for the rest of the season, and I will attack them when they don't have Ullmark in goal. And so this might be my last run at it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of value to attack them when Ullmark is there. Penguins -1.5 at -110, and the under 6 at -120. Then we have 2 more games, and then we'll go into NBA. The first is the Jets at Canucks, and the Jets. Now you might want to wait, because it's possible that Horvat and Brandon Sutter, who are both day-to-day, return tonight. But they're not going to be 100%. They're only going to be returning out of necessity. I like the Jets a lot here. This is a nice spot for them. They open up at – let me get to money lines here very quickly. They open up these Jets at -130. They're now -145. That's just going to go up. I think it's going to go up even if they announce that Horvat is playing tonight. And I expect Horvat to play. And the total's at 6 plus 100 to the top, -120 to the bottom. So the Jets 19-11-2, 9-6-1 on the road. Canucks 16-7-3, 9-8-2 at home. Rogers Arena, Vancouver, BC. Connor Hellebuck 14-9-2, 2.72 goals against, 9-13 save percentage, 1 shutout. Thatcher Demko, I expect to be in that 12-11-1, 2.71 goals against average, 9-19 save percentage, 1 shutout. If it is Holtby, more reason to bet the Jets. Jets power play 25.6%, penalty killing at 79%. Canucks power play at 20.2%, their penalty killing at 79.7%. The Jets are a solid team. They bounce back from losses at Edmonton on Thursday and Saturday to shut out these Canucks 4-0 on Monday. Scheifele's an excellent center, showing everyone why Dale Howardchuk believed in him so much. 38 points in 32 games. His plus-minus isn't very good. Nikolai Ehlers, Kyle Connor, Blake Wheeler are high-quality players. Neil Pionk has stepped up and become the number 1 defenseman that I thought Josh Morrissey would be. Pierre-Luc Dubois has been okay. Stastny's been okay. He's been actually better than I expected him to be. Hellebuck is a good goaltender who's having a below-average season, but he could get hot here after his first shutout of the season. Just 2 nights ago against these Canucks. They're beat up, the Canucks. They're in terrible shape up the middle. Pedersen and Beagle are week to week. That's their first-line centerman and their fourth-line centerman. Horvat and Sutter are both day-to-day. That's their second-line centerman and their third-line centerman. On the wing, Tanner Pearson's out for a month. Now, they moved JT Miller over from wing to center, and he'll play 27 minutes tonight. So he'll help that. Demko's an excellent goaltender, but he can't do it all himself. This team is simply a fade right now. There's Trotwam in the house. Trotwam. We got Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast. Astute Chaos. Great to see everybody. So we are almost about to hit NBA. And those are my only looks on the NHL card. So I don't want to spend too much time on Sharks Kings. And I'll review them all in a second. And I got the Jets -1. I think at plus 109. I think I'd have to check that out again. North Ender here, ready to rock. So this is the Kings-Sharks game. I'm not on it. This Kings-Sharks total is at 5.5, slightly juiced to the over. The money line is the Kings opened up at plus 103. They're now minus 105. You can make reasonable breakdowns of why you'd want to back either team. We're at the SAP Center, the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Kings are 13-12-6, 7-8-2 on the road. Sharks 12-14-4, 4-6-2 at home. Cal Peterson or Johnny Quick. It could be either of them in net. Peterson 6-6-4, 2.45 goals against average, 9.26 save percentage. He's been much better than Quick, 6-6-2, 2.91 goals against average, 8.98 save percentage. Martin Jones 9-6-2, 3.30 goals against average, 8.97 save percentage, 0 shutouts. And here's something I have never said in my lifetime: he's coming off an excellent hockey game. The Kings power play 24.8%. They're penalty killing 85.4%. Sharks 18.6% on the power play, 79.1% penalty killing. Both hockey teams are hard to trust. So the Kings are alternating wins and losses, and they've been good as dogs. I backed them as dogs and made money. Quick will show a glimpse of his old self every once in a while, but it's not for long enough. Kopitar having an excellent season, but he doesn't get any help. Dowdy and Dustin Smith are bouncing back, but this team is simply an average group. Joe Free in the house. Thank you, Joe. Yes, everything is the baby's got some colic, so sleepless nights, but everything's good. Thank you for the positive vibes. Sharks snapped a 4-game losing streak with a 2-1 home win over these Kings on Monday night. Martin Jones made 41 saves. Shocking. Maybe he can show something positive for the first time in years. Evander Kane having a career year. Shocking after all the financial issues that he's having. 27 points in 30 games. Logan Couture isn't having a better season. I'm surprised. Thomas Hertl back from COVID gives them scoring depth with Meyer and LeBanc. Erik Karlsson is sadly a shadow of his former self. I don't ever want to bet this team, but I'll see value as big dogs sometimes. Doug Wilson should be fired. Should be fired. There's Fat Wally in the house. Okay. Birdie says over to me is the play here. Both teams have average at best goaltending. Both teams are scoring. I think over makes sense. Should be a 4-3 type game. Mr. Gogi says, how long can Jones keep this up? 1 goal in the last 3 games? Yeah, right. Dylan Turner agreeing with Birdie. So I have 5 bets in NHL. And Flames -1 at -112. And the Jets -1 at +109. I think it's at 109 when I got it. I have to double check that. Yes, at +109. So that was a -145 money line and +167 puck line. So Flames -1, Minnesota Wild -1.5 at +110, Penguins -1.5 at -110, Buffalo Pitt under 6 at -120, and Jets -1 at +109. And I had a little bit of buyer's remorse on the Penguins -1.5. Without their top 2 centers, Rob Watkins says, don't trust the Flames. Rob Watkins, look, we cannot trust the Flames, but we trust Dale Sutter. He's not going to – do you think he's going to let this Flames team come back from – this is their final game of the road trip. They're going to come out firing. You know, I don't take favorites on the first period, but they're probably worth taking on the first period. Okay, that's NHL. There you go. Let's move on to NBA right now. And it's such a pleasure to be capping NBA with all you guys here every day again. I've succeeded enormously working with you guys in NBA. You guys helped me in NHL, no doubt about it. You helped me in every sport. But it's NBA, when we work together, that this is the first year. So this is the 4th year I publicly gambled on and put my action out in front of everybody every day. This is the first year I've ever been down double-digit units. And it's working together as a team that's helped so enormously. There's John Chow in the house. Rob Watkins, 4-4 since Sutter. I have 4-3 since Sutter, right? Because they won 3 straight and then they've gone 1-3. Mr. Gokes are saying 6-5 Flames final. Wow. There's Gavin Henry in the house. He's on Miss Cruz Parks. Anybody betting horses right there? And it's Penny Bombs taking the Kings tonight. Nice. Gavin Henry. Parks 8th race. Number 7, Miss Cruz. Gavin Henry, a trainer down in Jamaica. Knows horses spectacularly well. Great to join us, Gavin. And man, you know we're going to have a Lobag Summit of Champions at your racetrack in Jamaica, my man. Okay, so, and there's Dutch Boy Fresh in the house as well. There's Trotwam ready to go. This is heaven. Okay, let's get together and let's cap together. Here we go. We're going to start chronologically down the line. And let's start off with an article that you guys can have ready to go. We'll start with the best NBA teams to bet coming off of a loss. I'll pop this in the chat here. You guys can take a look at. And then I've got another real nice one that I'll pop maybe about halfway through in NBA. Are these coming up? Let me just make sure that they're coming up. They might not be because – oh, my gosh, I don't think they are. Okay, I know what I have to do. Sorry, my fault. So that first one didn't come up. Shoot. Okay, let me just do this then. So this was the top 5 NHL teams off of a loss. I didn't realize that because of the links, they're not going to come up. Sorry. Haven't been live in a while. All right, it's going to take me a second to figure this out. Missed. Yeah, the NHL one didn't come out. Okay, here. Let me see if this is a way to do it. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, I've got to. Okay, sorry. Okay, we're going to be hammering NBA right now all together. Let me just. Oh, this is going to be a pain. Okay. Al, you know what, Al? Can you pop them in the chat? We're going to have a different. I'm going to have a different system tomorrow. But there we go. There's Al Max. There we go. Hit that link. That's NBA teams coming off. And can you drop the NHL one too at some point and drop? Yeah, I'll have a better way to do it tomorrow. Okay, let's get to work on NBA. We got a great group in the house. Let's go. We are going to start with the Pistons Pacers. We're just going to go down chronologically here. And let's see what we are dealing with. Move over to market moves and see what we got. NBA, let's go. God, come on. What the hell's going on? All right, here we go. Okay, we have the Pacers open up at -6. Pacers open up at -6, and that's where they stand right now. There's 6.5 on the board, and it's from a leading indicator book. So I expect 6.5 to be across the board within an hour and a half. This total is at 218.5. That's the opener. You can get a 219 as well. The Detroit Pistons, 12-30 on the year, 5-18 on the road at the Pacers, 19-23, 7-12 at home. All right, Noli knows in the house as well. This is perfect. Yes, Brogdon and for the Pacers, Miles Turner and Brogdon are day-to-day. We're going to break down all the injury issues right now. But this is great. Big Zomega in the house as well. All right. Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Indianapolis, Indiana. The Pistons pace last 5, and the pace of these teams last 5 games, very, very interesting numbers. Not these two teams particularly, but as we go through this schedule. Pistons pace 22nd, 96.90 possessions a game. Pacers pace last 5, 9th at 100.11 possessions a game. Ski Prophet says, not the role I want. Brogdon and Turner may be out too. Pistons bounce back after getting embarrassed. Oh, this is so dope. And yes, Dutch Boy Fresh will be live with Trot Wham today. The best way to keep an eye on Wham and Dutch is to follow them on Twitter. And then I'm going to be doing Dutch Boy Fresh's show on Monday night at midnight Eastern. Birdie says, I like Detroit here, and we'll wait for this number to climb. Hopefully get them at 7. C-Mac is on the under 218.5. Pistons had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 186 home loss versus the Bulls on Monday night. As usual, Jeremy Grant led the way offensively with 26 points, 9 of 22 from the field, but just 1 of 7 from 3. And he also managed just 1 rebound and 2 assists. That's not acceptable. Mason Plumlee filled out the stat sheet as usual, 12 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 4 steals. He doesn't have much skill, but he hustles, and you know that Dwayne Casey loves that shit. After scoring 48 points in his previous 2 games, Sadiq Bey had an off night, 1 of 9 for the field from 3 points. You can imagine that this will be a bounce-back spot for him. But they are banged up. No Magruder, no Allington, no Diallo. Chris asking about this cap spot. We're going to roll through. But let's work together here. There's Amsterdam. What else in the house as well? So the Pacers coming off an ugly 140-113 loss at Milwaukee to a Bucks team playing without Giannis Antetokounmpo. It was awful. Awful. And the Bucks are playing as well in the schedule, so we'll talk more about that spot. But, I mean, the Pacers were missing Brogdon and Miles Turner. Brogdon with a sore lower back and Turner with a sprained left ankle. They're without TJ Warren, and it looks like Warren is months away, supposedly, still in the walking boot. But that Bucks team without Giannis did anything they want from the perimeter and put up 140 points. Very, very embarrassing. Dutch Boy Fresh says Pistons are fade. And Yanni Toon saying Flames lock of the day. I get it. Walter Trotter, I'm saying without Turner, they have no rim protection. Indiana got 22 points from Sabonis, 21 from Lamb. McDermott had 21 from Lamb, 20 from McDermott, 19 from Karis LeVert. The Holiday brothers were awful. Justin scored 3 points, shot 1 of 10, and they were all from 3. Aaron Holiday was scoreless in 17 minutes, shot 0 for 7. Troy Farley saying NBA tough next couple days with the trade deadline. No lineups until the last minute. North Ender's also going to be on the under. Ski Prophet saying Pacers have been money burners. Pistons cashed more tickets lately. Marlon Z says can't trust the Pacers at all, especially laying 6 points. I'm going to let. I agree. Christopher says Pistons. Christopher Gargaro says Pistons are the Sabres of the NBA. Just so hard to back such a bad team. And Big Zoe, yes, the total is climbing. The total is climbing. Not at huge, fast pace, but this total is climbing. We see those 219s have just reached the board. So, all right. So here we go. Pistons, Pacers, and I can understand why there's uncomfort backing the Pacers. You have to think that they bounce back early, but I'm not someone who generally likes first quarter favorites sitting at -2. You have to think they come out angry. You have to. If there's any move to make on the Pacers, I would take them to come out early and be angry. And we have Almac, and this is a great one, a great spot here, article for this. Pistons are the 4th best team to back when coming off a loss. And Al's going to be adding trends during the show as we go. Great stuff. Ray Charles says lean Pacers on this one for sure. Matt Shedden says Pacers have pride. They will revenge the bad loss. I absolutely agree. But are you going to want them? Can you trust them to win by 7? Wow. Rob Clark's play of the day, Buffalo money line. Ballsy, Rob. I love it. Respect. Patrick Cotelli in the house as well. And Dutch Boy is on the Pacers first quarter, first half. Pistons are 18-10 against the spread when coming off a loss. It's great stuff. I understand why you're doing this, Dutch. I really do. I'd also be interested in the Sadiq Bey props. All right. And Christopher Gargaro says I'm 100% passing on the Detroit-Indiana game. So many other better spots on the card. I completely understand that mindset. And why don't we move on to another spot right now? We're going to move on to 7:30 p.m. Celtics Bucks. We're at the Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And here we go. We have, that's first quarter. Let's move over to full game. Oh, that's why it's not coming up, because I'm signed in as Jimmy the Bag and the odds. There we go. Let me fix this. Sorry, it's been a second. Being a minute, man. All right, here. I'm going to switch this here quickly. Let's get out of this. There we go. Switch account. There we go. All right. I'm in business. I can help out. All right. Okay. I'm in business. I can help out. All right. So let's go. Celtics, Bucks. We got Tremaine in the house. Great to see you, Tremaine. Let's get to work right now. Jason Tatum, trash this year, says our man, Unc Oliver, lucky lefty. All right. Celtics 21-22, 8-15 on the road at the Bucks, 28-14, 17-5 at home. We're at Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Celtics pace last 5 is slow, 25th in the NBA, 95.31 possessions a game. Bucks are first at 108.64 possessions a game, which is a very fast pace. Very fast pace, and they weren't doing anything like that earlier in the year. Celtics have lost 4 or 5. They're coming off a 132-126 overtime loss at Memphis on the second night of a back-to-back. The Celtics have lost 6 straight on the second night of back-to-backs, and most of those have come without Kemba. The Celtics were missing Jason Tatum, who was a late scratch with an illness, and Kemba, who was rested. They are both expected to be back in the lineup tonight. Tatum's not on the injury report. Walker sat out his 17th game to deal with left knee management. Teague started in his spot and looked pretty good. Semi Ojeleye started for Tatum. Brown led Boston with 27 points. Jeff Teague finished with a season high 26. Williams had 17. Marcus Smart had 16. Let's move this over. We're back in business. Billy Brisbane joining us as well. And Bucks are the 5th best team to back on the over this season, 25-16-1. That is great. That is absolutely, absolutely great. Jacksonville Zoe back in action. I love this. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Okay, let's talk about the Bucks. Coming off their 7th straight win, an impressive 140-113 win at home over the Pacers without Giannis. Left knee sprain. He practiced on Tuesday, and Bulldozer, I mean, he's going to be listed as questionable. He expects him to be in the lineup tonight. Drew Holiday led the way with 28 points, 14 assists. Bucks shot 61.5% from 3, 56.4% overall. Pat Connaughton made his first start of the season, 20 points, 9 boards, 6 of 7 from 3. Middleton, 25, 8, and 6. They also played without PJ Tucker, who sprained his left ankle. The Bucks were 9 of 10 from three-point range in the first 9.5 minutes. Does anybody think that they could possibly shoot like that again? John Chow's on the over. Dutch Boy Fresh is on the over. 25 Hatski. Come on. You need to put a 0. Actually, I don't have 250. My brother does. But okay. Let's move to this total sitting at 230. The Bucks open up -4.5. Now they're at -6. The question is, do you guys think that Giannis will be in the lineup? Because if Giannis is in the lineup, I would have interest in the Celtics. And Nolino says even I took that over. Oh, yeah, come on. 25 hats? Come on. All right, so Dutch Boy Fresh is on the over. We have a lot of cappers backing the over. I tell you what I would like to do is I would like to back the Boston Celtics if Giannis is in the lineup. That's what I'd like to do. So Dutch Boy Fresh is expecting Giannis to be in the lineup. Ray Charles, my idea with the Celtics here, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to see what kind of number I can get, is that the Bucks were spectacular, were in rhythm without Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now their superstar comes back on the floor after a perfect shooting night, after everything was falling, after everything was smooth, and I think it messes up their rhythm. That's what I think. I think they have a much more difficult time. And then you have this Celtics team who played tough. Hey, listen, it's Antetokounmpo. Sorry, am I saying Giannis? Giannis? What do you want me to call him? Giannis? Sorry, hey, listen. Maybe I'll just call him Antetokounmpo. Matt Shedden says, I agree strongly the Celtics come out strong and fast. I think so, too. Uncle Oliver says, I hope Jason Tatum comes out to play tonight. I want the Celtics, but I'm going to wait, and I will tweet it out. I want Antetokounmpo to be announced in. I want more money to come in on the Bucks, and then I want to decide whether I'll be backing them early or late. And Silent has a good point. He says, Boston's absolutely falling apart. Don't catch the falling knife. A Big Zoe saying it's been super painful to watch. This is a spot where I would like to fade a Bucks team. And I don't know how exactly to do it. And I know I need to wait to get a better line. But that just went 24 of 39 from 3. 61.5% from 3, and we're perfectly in rhythm without Antetokounmpo. Dylan Turner saying Celtics team total over and the points. I'm not as heavy on the over as now. There are much better NBA cappers in the chat that are heavy on the over, so I would trust them. But I just think that after what we just saw Milwaukee do, now they have their superstar back, wanting the ball, things will be a little different. Okay. Ray Charles says, who on the Celtics is going to stop Giannis? Look, What do you want me to say? No one? But that will mess up. This team just went 9 of 10 from 3-point range in the first 9.5 minutes. Haley says won't touch the Celtics till after the deadline, understandably so. Okay, let's move on to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Nuggets at Raptors. And this was the line that confounded everyone. It was fun to watch. We knew the public was going to come in heavy on Denver, and we have to wait. It actually opened up as a pick'em. Now it's at -3 at some books. It was -2 across the board this morning. The 2.5s are coming. There's gas station sushi ready to rock and roll. Big party in Vegas for the Kentucky Derby with all the lobaggers. ZZ Topic says, Antetokounmpo can be defended as a group. Celtics are capable. Ski says Nuggets line is fishy. Has there been a fishier line? So Nuggets on the second half of a back-to-back, 26-17 on the year, 14-18 on the road. At Toronto Raptors, 17-26, 8-10 at home. So this is embarrassing, really. I have Jokic for MVP at plus 550. And I was like, God, I didn't put much money on it. I remember not putting much money on it. And then I looked back and I put $50 on it. God, that's like the lowest bet I've made in the just $50. He's now even money to be MVP. How did I not put at least $100 on it? $50. What a joke. Okay, let's see. We have a total opening up at 224.5, now at 223.5. So that is dropping. Johnny K ready to get to work. Frank Vega says Nuggets here. If Toronto's serious about trading Lowry and Powell, they sit them tonight. All right. Turnsey, much love. Best of luck. Matt Shedden says, I live in Toronto and the Raps are looking bad. Can't back them until they show me something. I agree. Raptors 17-26, 8-10 at home at Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. Nuggets pace last 5, 20th in the NBA, 97.67 possessions a game. Raptors, unit shaming himself. $50. I couldn't believe it. I was like, come on, I put at least 100 on it, right? And then I went and looked. Raptors are 10th in possession or in pace at 100.10 possessions a game. The Nuggets have won 4 of 5 and 9 of 11. They're on the second half of a back-to-back after defeating Orlando 110-99 last night. Jokic had 28 points, 15 boards, 10 assists for his 12th double-double of the season. It was the Nuggets' 6th consecutive road win to tie the franchise record. Michael Malone was tearful in that open. He's emotional, talking about the 10 people killed in a grocery store on Monday by the gunman in Boulder, Colorado. He dedicated the game to the families dealing with the aftermath. There was a lot of heart in that game. And now they have to come back again the next night. That's tricky. Jamal Murray put up 21. Porter, 18-7. Monte Morris has been was ruled out on Tuesday, so we'll see if he's available to play on Wednesday. Ray Charles says it's Nuggets or pass. We have another article here. Beautiful. Thank you, Al. Yeah, he's even money right now. So the one thing because I kind of got invested because I started the year with Luka, and then I added the $50 on Jokic. But then I made like a decent sized bet on, it was not that big. It's $175 on LeBron. And then I was like, oh my God, is Joel Embiid, have I hedged myself into this terrible, terrible hole where I'm going to lose money? And then Embiid got hurt, and I was extremely thankful. Marco Lou says, are you heading to Vegas for the Kentucky Derby? I want to so badly. But the issue we have here in Canada is we can't drive across the border. But if we fly across the border, and when we come back, we have a mandatory 3-day quarantine at a hotel, and it's $2,000. It costs $2,000 for this quarantine. So, okay, let's keep going here. So Gary Harris going to be unavailable for the foreseeable future for the thigh injury. The Raptors have lost 9 straight, and this opens up as a pick'em. Just fishy. We thought the season low came in their 8th straight loss when they went down 116-105 at Cleveland on Sunday night, but no. Monday night, they let the Rockets snap their 20-game losing streak. Oh, my God. 117-99 Monday at Houston. Van Fleet led Toronto with 27 points. By the way, stores just opened. We've been in lockdown, and stores just opened in Toronto. And the first thing I did was, because I bought my daughter this old school Raptors jersey, Siakam jersey. The first thing I did when stores opened is I went down and I exchanged it for a Van Fleet. Get that Siakam jersey out my house. Siakam, 21 points, 10 boards. Powell, 19. Lowry, 17 points. DeAndre Bembry ejected. 2 back-to-back technicals. This is an angry group, man. Toronto's lost 7 straight on the road. Now they come to this makeshift home. Boucher had 10 boards off the bench. And more great stuff coming from Al Mack. You know what? The NBA just doesn't give you free money. And one of the mistakes I was making earlier this year was I was like, look, how do you not make this bet? How do you not make this bet? And I was making them, and it was costing me. And I can't sit here and, what I'd prefer to do is just see how much money comes in on the Nuggets. But what am I going to do? I can't place a bet on the Raptors, but we know that the books don't give you anything for free. And why would this open up as a pick'em? They knew the public was going to be all over the Nuggets. They clearly want money to come in on the Nuggets. And Frank Vega says Raps are off tomorrow, so they would definitely sit their trade pieces tonight. This is something I don't want anything to do with. North Ender says nice choice on the Van Fleet. Yeah, he's a special player. Okay, so no move for me on Nuggets Raptors. Let's move on. Let's move on to Suns Magic. That will be next up on our card. We have Phoenix opening up as 8-point favorites. That moved to 9.5. Now it's moved to 10. This total opened up at 213.5 and is now at 215.5. We're at the Amway Center, Orlando, Florida. Suns 14th in pace at 99.20 possessions a game. Magic 26th at 95.20 possessions a game. Suns have won 3 straight and 4-5, coming off a 110-100 win at Miami on Tuesday to win their 7th straight game. Booker goes for 23. Ayton finishes with 17 and 16. Jay Crowder scores 13. Bridges 12. Paul 9 assists. They're within 2 games of Utah for the top spot in the Western Conference. And Crowder, Booker, Paul all sat out the 4th quarter. This team is healthy, and this team is rolling. Rob Clark says, just take the Nuggets, easy money. I get it. Ski Prophet says, Jimmy, does Phoenix win the game? Well, Magic have lost 11 of 12. Does anybody want to back this team? They lost 110-99 at home to Denver on Tuesday night. Second half of a back-to-back. Fournier goes for 31. Vucevic got badly outplayed by Jokic. Woo, did Jokic look good. Walter Trotter says Orlando is another team that will most likely sit players. I mean, they're going to sit Aaron Gordon. We know that. Aaron Gordon requesting a trade. God, what a poor career that he's had. Do they cover double digits here? So Terrence Ross been dealing with a sore right knee. He's day-to-day with a foot injury. Sabino Anguano back in the house. Great to see you, Sabino. We haven't seen Sabino since he gave us Mexico at plus 300 in soccer. That was an easy catcher. Oh, nice. Fat Wally's going to steal a Winnebago and pick us up. I like it. Ron Walsek says Magic will struggle to hit 100. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And if that's the case, why wouldn't this under 215.5 be in play? And not only that, this total's gone from 213.5 up to 215.5. Walla Walla Dose in the house. Yenny Tunes soccer action up. Yenny Tune came on my Twitter a couple days ago and gave out Leon at plus 200 cashed. Wow. Johnny K says under. Another thing, so one of the successes I had obviously he was working with, guys like Ski Profit and Trot Lamb, and now we have Dutch Boy Fresh with us all the time. It's great. But one of the successes I had was that when I'd see a market move from 213.5 up to 215.5, I would just stay off of it. I wouldn't try to beat or be smarter than the market move. But I'd be interested to see how high this goes, because the under 215.5 is something to definitely think about here. You have both teams coming off on the second half of back-to-backs. They're probably not going to want to push the pace too much, and they're going to play their bench. And Johnny Casey's at 216 now. Okay. Let's move on to Cavs Bulls right now. 8 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Cavaliers 16-27, 5-15 on the road. At Chicago Bulls 19-23, 9-15 at home. And pace-wise, both Suns and Magic are playing slow. God, but it's going up. So obviously models are saying that this game is going to be higher scoring. Matt Shedden says, I strongly agree Magic won't reach 100. Ray Charles says, the Bulls. All right, let's break this down. Cavs 16-27, 5-15 on the road. We're at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Cavaliers 14th in pace, 99.20 possessions a game last 5. And Bulls are 21st at 97.57 possessions a game. The Bulls open up at -7. That's moved to 6.5 and 6 now. This total's dropping. Open up 219.5 is all the way down to 216.5. Johnny K says, I'm on the Cavs here. Cavs lost their 6th game in 8 on Monday, 119-105 at home for Sacramento. They had beaten the Raptors 116-105 the night before. Yes, so they played back-to-back Sunday, Monday. We're off Tuesday, and they're playing here Wednesday. JaVale McGee paced the Cavs 18 points, 9 boards. Sexton had 15 and 7. It was Cleveland's 3rd home game in 4 days, and they played poorly. Dellavedova, appendectomy, downgraded from questionable to out. So we don't know when he's going to make his season debut. Kevin Love, right calf soreness, and Taurean Prince, left shoulder sprain, remains unavailable. Rob Clark says, take the over 216. Oh, they're begging you to take the under with the Suns 117-102 game. Okay. Ski Profit says, never bet the Cavs on the road. Simple. From my Ski Profit. Ski says, don't like the Bulls as a fave or at home either. All right, let's talk about the Bulls. After winning at Detroit 186 to start it back-to-back, the Bulls lost their 3rd game in 4 nights, 120-95 at home to Utah the following night. Levine led Chicago with 27 points, but he was just 10 of 25 from the field. Thaddeus Young, 14 points, 9 boards. Lauri Markkanen, 8 points, 19 minutes. And why did he get just 19 minutes is the question. He said all the right things in the presser afterwards, that he trusts Billy Donovan. Garrett Temple, sprained ankle, is responding really well, but he's not ready to play yet. Patrick Williams, sprained left shoulder, Donovan said is minor. Birdie says, no way I'm laying 6+ points here. Cavs for me, and we'll split my bet 60% against the spread and 40% on the money line. It does feel like a bounce-back spot for the Cavs, doesn't it? And 7 would be nice. 7 would be nice, but I wonder if 6 is the spot. We have another article that you can pop into from our man Al Mack. 15-6, the Bulls are the 2nd best team to back in the NBA when coming off a loss. All right. It's tough to trust any of these, either of these teams. YouTube and Out the Way has got Charlotte and the Flames in a parlay. Matt Shedden says, I'm with Ski. Bulls are a better dog. I can completely understand that. And Ray says, Cavs are crap, though. Are they tanking? Yeah, they're tanking. And they want to move Drummond. And Walter Trotter saying possibly trade in order. Walter isn't getting an extension on the contract here. And Greg Smith says next game. Okay. And Rob Clark's on the over here as well. And this over has dropped from 219.5 to 216.5. Wild. Okay, let's move on. And Silence right, Cavs playing for picks. Keep that in mind. Let's move on to Hornets Rockets. That will be next up. Ray Charles looking for Dutch's thoughts here. Great to have all these great cappers in the chat. Charlotte Hornets 21-21, 9-13 on the road. Houston Rockets 12-30, 6-15 at home. We're at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. We have Charlotte as 3-point favorites. This total opens up at 224 and is now at 222.5. It is dropping. The Hornets pace last 5, 16th in the NBA at 98.90 possessions a game. Rockets 18th at 98.40 possessions a game. Charlotte snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 197 win at San Antonio on Monday night, their first game without LaMelo. Biyombo and Malik Monk added 11 points each. PJ Washington went for 10-13. Hornets are 16-0 when leading after 3 quarters. Cody Zeller missed his second straight game with left shoulder bursitis. And Borrego hopeful that Zeller will be available. I need Zeller. I need him. I can't back Charlotte when it's Biyombo out there playing 30 minutes a game. I can't. And if they announce that Zeller is in, I like the way Zeller runs the floor. And that would be enough for me to move on Houston. So that's my plan right now. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat and see what everybody is saying, but that is my plan. Jacksonville Zoe says Charlotte looks like a sucker line. They played pretty well without Ball. It was the Spurs though. All right, let's talk about this Rockets team. They snapped their 20-game losing streak with a 117-99 home win over Toronto on Monday. Wall goes for 19, 10, and 11. First triple-double since March 17th of 2016. All 5 Houston starters scored in double digits. Jayshawn Tate playing well. Sterling Brown had 20. Wood 19. House had 12. Oladipo sat out with a right quad injury for maintenance. He's expected to be back. DJ Augustine returned after 1-game absence. I know Gordon and Nwaba are out long term, but you know what? This makes me a little uncomfortable. You know what? Finally the Rockets can come into their home arena and not, be, the weight of a 20-game losing streak on their shoulders. Let's see what Trotwam's saying. Trotwam's saying, yeah, LaMelo, it's a Graham show and he's been bricking. There's something that changes though when you get the weight off your shoulders. Matt Shedden says, I think the Hornets get caught not taking Houston serious and they pull out the win. Birdie says there's no motivation here for the Rockets. They got their win and trade line approaching. I like Charlotte here a lot. Okay. There's Dab Fan in the house. We are not, and we're not doing. I'm going to start just because the NBA card was going to take so much of our time. We should be we should be capping the CBI and NIT and the other tournaments. We're not today. We will tomorrow. I'll get them back in tomorrow. Something makes me a little uncomfortable all of a sudden. Ski Prophet says it took the coach to cry for them to win a game. He's right. Let's talk Mavericks, Timberwolves. Mavericks, Timberwolves in here. What our guys in the chat are doing with this spot. The Mavericks open up at -7. That moves to 8.5 very quickly. The total opens up at 228.5, and we're already at 231.5. Dutch Boy Fresh says Hornets can't stop Jimmy in the paint. Hard to back them. Johnny K liking the T-Wolves plus the points. We're at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mavericks pace is getting so slow. We've never seen them play this slow. 29th in the NBA over the last 5 games, 93.4 possessions a game. Wolves pace 5th in the NBA at 101.00 possessions a game. That's been a while, and I was talking about this earlier in the season. When you see a team 5th in pace in the NBA and their possessions are just 101 a game. Dallas has alternated wins and losses over their last 6. They're coming off a 132-92 win at Portland after losing 2 nights prior to the Blazers 125-119. Doncic made his first 8 3-point shots, finished 8 for 9 shooting from long distance, 13 and 19 from the field. He has 70 points combined over the 2 games. Jay Rich scores 21, Finney-Smith 13, Kristaps 12. They led 103-69 at the end of the third quarter. They led by as many as 45 at one point. And Ski making a move on a player prop. Luka over 29.5 points. His T-Wolves allowed 30-point game, the most 30-point games this season. And Doncic just has to get his average, and he's been balling. Unc Oliver, it's great to have you back, man. Lucky Lefty and Tata Booker. Very, very, very interesting. Okay, so I think that this look that Johnny K has on the T-Wolves at plus points is one of the spots that I like. You have Dallas feeling very good about themselves, putting up 132 points. Luka off a spectacular shooting night. Wolves lost 2 straight, 3 or 4. They're coming off a 112-103 loss at home to the Thunder on Monday night. But the Thunder went crazy from 3 in that game. Cat led Minnesota with 33 and 10. Edwards goes for 16. Rubio 11 and 11. So Edwards drops 42 on the Suns last Thursday. And in 2 games since, he scored 27 points on 10 of 34 shooting. Michael Irvalina, yes, the show is back every day, 11 a.m., Monday to Friday. I should say every day. Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. This is our first show, my man. Jordan McLaughlin has rejoined the team. He was out with COVID-19 protocols, and we know D'Angelo out long-term. I wonder if this is a spot for – let's just move over here very quickly and see. I wonder – wow, the Nuggets are back to 2-point favorites again. God, ballsy, these guys betting on the Raptors. Ballsy. I really wonder if these Anthony Edwards at 21.5. I think that the Wolves plus the points is a spot that I find interesting. It's very tough backing this Minnesota team. I think at plus 8.5, I'm very interested in. And I wonder if that goes up. I wonder if we can get more than that, because this opened up at 7. I wonder if we could see a 9 come on the board. A 9 would be nice. Have to lose by double digits. So we'll hear what Ski, Wham, Dutch think about this Mavericks spot. But I think that Johnny K has something here. Okay, let's roll on. We move on to Grizzlies, Oklahoma City, 8 p.m. Eastern. Grizzlies are 20 and 20, 9 and 7 on. Yeah, Rachel says they're playing hard, but it's hard to back them. 20 and 29, 7 on the road. Oklahoma City Thunder, 19 and 24, 8 and 12 at home. We're at Chesapeake Energy Arena, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And Dutch Boy Fresh looking at Rubio props. Again, I'll be on Dutch's show Monday night at midnight. Memphis Grizzlies, Oklahoma City. Grizzlies pace last 7th in the league, 100.21 possessions a game. Thunder at 12th, 99.40 possessions a game. Memphis won 2 straight, 3 or 4. They're coming off a 132-126 overtime win at home over Boston on Monday. Ja Morant, 29 points and 9 assists. Dylan Brooks added 24 points, 7 boards, and 7 assists. Valanciunas had 16 points and 19 boards. They're a healthy group. Just Jaren Jackson out of the lineup. This is a healthy group that I was a little disappointed in that game against Boston. I thought they could have run over them. Thunder coming off their second straight win, 112-103 Minnesota. Shea goes for 31 points. They hit 21 threes on just 37 attempts. 8 of 9 players who entered the game hit threes. Ty Jerome went 5 for 5. Shea went 4 of 6. Pokusevski hit 3. So did Maladin. Baisley week to week with a shoulder injury. George Hill had the cast just removed from his thumb. Ski Prophet says, don't like OKC at home and don't like them off the road trip, although it's kind of short. Yeah, I don't like OKC either. But after shooting so well, I don't like them. I do feel like it's a do feel like this is a spot where we can get the Grizzlies to take care of this team. Ray Charles saying I cashed a lot on Shea prop bets. Yeah, that was something that Wham got us onto as well, and we've been hitting as hard as possible. Grizzlies. Do we back the Grizzlies plus 4.5 here? Jacksonville Zoe says I lean Oklahoma City as a dog. Again, we're gonna go. After we have a couple games left to have finished the card, and then I'm going to decide exactly what I'm going to follow through with. Tony Mang in the house. Great to see you, Tony. Thank you for joining us. This would be a Grizzlies or no bet. Walter Charter's on Memphis. This would be a Grizzlies or no bet after Oklahoma City shot the lights out last out. And they'd be much better at home than they were at the start of the year. Ski Profit leaning Grizz, but didn't bet it yet. This is a Grizz or no bet for me. Dutch Boy first saying Grizz bad on the road against the spread. Okay, let's move on. We have 3 games left on the card for NBA, and then we do want to just quickly touch on NCAA. We're going to touch on the first 4 games today, and then the games for the tournament games on Saturday. Bless the Child Ministries in the house. Thank you for joining us. Tony saying anytime Shea goes off, he stinks it up the following night from what I remember. Let's go 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Clippers at Spurs. Clippers 28-16, 13-10 on the road at the Spurs. 22-18, 10-11 at home. We're at the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. Clippers are 27th in pace over the last 5 games, 95.1 possessions a game. Spurs are 19th at 97.70 possessions a game. We have the Clippers opening up as 5.5-point favorites. That moves to 6. Let's just pop this. Is what Trot Wham is on. Jacksonville Zoe on the other side. Ski Profit leaning towards the Grizz. You're a good man, Puzzler. Bless this Child Ministries liking Spurs. Brooklyn Loot in the house liking the Spurs. Johnny K backing the Spurs. Very, very, very interesting. So San Antonio 6-point dogs, and this total is rising. We opened at 220.5, then it went down to 220. Wow, but it's going up fast. We have Pinnacle leading the way to the over, 221.5, and a couple books have moved to 222. So the books are all over the map. We have Vitalis in the house. God, it's been too long since we've seen Vitalis. Great to see you, my man. All right. Clippers have won 2 straight and 3 of 4. They're coming off a 119-110 win at Atlanta on Monday night. Kawhi, 25 points. Terrence Mann, season high, 21. They rally from a 22-point deficit to snap that Hawks 8-game winning streak. Luke Kennard, 8 for 8. Scored 20 points, season high, 20 points. Paul George, season low, 8 points. Again, they're playing without Beverly's, missed 5 straight games with knee soreness, and Ibaka missed 4 due to lower back tightness. Spurs have lost 2 straight since their 3-game winning streak, coming off a 197 loss at home versus the Hornets. DeMar DeRozan, 28 points. Derek White adds 21. And the Spurs then, that was the Spurs opening up their 9-game homestand. And it'll be very important for us to plan out when we want to back the Spurs over this 9-game homestand, because there's going to be some real juicy spots. Rudy Gay listed as questionable. I wonder if this is one of them. Getting the Spurs at +6. I wonder if this is one of them. And then I also wonder, if you want the Spurs, why not wait? We know money's going to come in on the clip show, public money. The Spurs, I like it. I like that you guys are feeling the Spurs, and that makes sense to me. But I am going to wait. Lineal Land in the house, like in that wild under. I'm going to wait. But that does make sense to me. And this total for the Spurs, all over the map right now. But moving up. JoJo Rich says Clips will pound it tonight. I wonder. I mean, they're coming off the 119-110 win in Atlanta on Monday night. They likely went out and partied in Atlanta. Hung over on Tuesday. Continued the road trip on Wednesday. Wow. And Nilo saying that ref in the Detroit game called the penalty because they deserved it was fired. Wow. And we have from Almac, Spurs are the 5th best team in the NBA. You can pop on odds.com to read that article right now. The 5th best team in the NBA is back on the under at 23-17. Okay. Yeah, Vitalis is looking for more. I get it. Let's talk about the marquee game on the card now. 10 p.m. Eastern. Brooklyn Nets 29-14, 12-8 on the road. And Walter Trotter on a Herder prop. And that will be on this last game. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. Wham bam. Okay, let's go. Brooklyn, Utah 31-11, 16-2 at home. We're at Vivint Smart Arena, Salt Lake City, Utah. Nets are 13th and over their last 5 games in pace at 99.30 possessions a game. Jazz are 8th at 100.20. You're right, Vitalis. It was awful. Just awful. The Nets have won 2 straight in 8 of 9. They're on the second half of a back-to-back. They coming off a 116-112 win at Portland on Tuesday night. And the Jazz have moved to 10-point favorites. Wow. So Harden nearly missed the Tuesday night game with a sore neck. I wonder if Nash forces him to sit. And if he does, then what's the spread become? And at that point, it's probably worth taking the Nets. That's probably how I'm going to play this out. Because I know that Harden wants to play, but this would be the perfect spot to sit him and to force sit him. Ray Charles says this game's on ESPN. I think both teams show up. Johnny K says number's gone for the Jazz. I agree with that. And Ski Prophet says he plays until proven otherwise. Plus 10 enough for him. Wow, it's so great having you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Such an enormous addition. Puzzler, a.k.a. Kanaskat, says he played 39 minutes last night. So Claxton, Speedy goes for 16 points, 9 boards off the bench. And as we know, no Durant, no Kyrie. And Blake Griffin, 8 points and 5 boards in 19 minutes. The Jazz have won 2 straight after having lost 5 of 8. They're coming off a 120-95 win at Chicago on Monday night. Donovan Mitchell goes for 30. Rudy goes for 21 and 10. And a career at 9 blocks. Joe Ingles makes 5 of 6 threes, finishes with 17 points. Clarkson scores 16. Conley adds 15. This is a healthy group. Are we ready for them to get hot again? I really want to see if Harden plays. And I completely understand Ski's look that Harden's always available. I wonder if Nash says, look, I'm in charge here. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he says, maybe he's afraid to do that first year as a coach. And Harden's a superstar. But I missed a spot on the Jazz. And if Harden is out and this goes to 13, I want Brooklyn. Okay, so and no move for me on the total. I need to be doing this every single day to get back on the total train. So I'm going to be very light on totals early. And Jacksonville Zoe says 10 points is too much unless Harden does not play. Taking Nets if Harden plays. Okay, that's Nets Jazz. And then let's go over to this Hawks Kings spot. We've already heard from Trot Wham that he's on Herder props this evening. This at Hawks 22-21, 11-12 on the road. Sacramento Kings 18-25, 9-12 at home. We're at the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. Dennis Garcia in the house. Likely on mini plus 8. I agree, and I think we can get the 8.5 there. And Boston plus 6. I think those both make sense. I really do. I really do, Dennis. The -2 with Denver, I mean, how is that not a 5.5? That does scare me. Okay. Hawks pace last 5, the slowest in the NBA. We have Ski Profit on the Hawks. They're 30th at 93 possessions a game. Vital saying the Sharps and money are on the Hawks at -1.5. Johnny K's on the other side of the Celtics game. We're going to do one last review on NBA action and then decide. Kings are 4th in pace over the last 5, 101.30 possessions game. Hawks had their 8-game winning streak snapped in that 119-110 loss at the Clippers on Monday night. Gallinari dealing with a knee injury. He's questionable. Kings are won 3 of 4. They're coming off a 119-105 win at Cleveland. De'Aaron Fox scored 30 points. Tyrese Halliburton added career-high 28. And the Kings just completed the longest road trip of the season. This is a perfect time to fade the Kings. Perfect time. After their longest road trip of the season, then they come home. I think that look on Atlanta makes a ton of sense. Sitting as 3-point favorites. This total has fallen. Oh, man. Opened up and fallen through. Opened at 237. And we see 230.5s on the board. The Czar says I took the Kings plus 3.5. I think it's an even matchup. I agree. I think it's an even matchup. I just have a feeling that historically I've liked fading teams coming home off of a long road trip, especially a successful one, especially one that ends successfully. Gas station, I love it, man. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back with you guys, man. Every morning, 11 a.m. And God, I wish I was at your barbecue on the weekend of the Derby. God, oh, man. Jealous. Greg Smith says Boston burns me every time. I understand that. Matt Shen says good letdown spot for the Clippers. Okay, I agree with the Hawks here. Get back to their winning ways. I absolutely agree. I think it's it makes sense to me. Alex Ramirez on the Kings, though. I don't like seeing that. Oh, you guys, this means so much to me. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. All right, that was NBA, and it's just a real honor to be capping it with all you guys. Thank you, Bless This Child Ministries. Thank you very much. Let's just review the action in NBA. So, I think Dutch is bang on with the Pacers early in this game against the Pistons. I think that they're an angry, embarrassed group. I think that Dutch is on first quarter, first half, and at this point, I don't know if I have the balls because I'm going to keep my unit size the same. So I don't know if I have the balls right now to take them both, but they make so much sense. So I think I'm going to move with Dutch on the Pacers first quarter, first half. So then we have Celtics Bucks, and I'm going to wait on the Antetokounmpo news, and as soon as we find out about the Freak, if he's in, I will take Boston. If he's in. Celtics. So I'm going to wait. So that would be a wait and see. Then Nuggets Raptors. Something just isn't right. Oh, Jerry, I'm happy to be back in action talking NHL. It's great. This line just doesn't make sense to me. And it's going to I'm going to bring back the healthy fear of the NBA. Then we have Suns Magic. And I don't want to go against this market move to the over. So I'm not going to. It's pretty simple. Both teams on the second half of a back-to-back. Will they have legs for defense? Because of that, I'm just not going to go up against these market moves in the NBA. Slats 45. Thank you. I opened with NHL, you guys. We opened with NHL. So just go back and check. I broke down NHL hard. Yes, Carlos, I'll post a full recap. We'll go back and I'll just do a quick recap of NHL. And then we have Cavs, Bulls. I can understand wanting to stay far away from this game. This would be a Cavs player or nothing. But it's probably going to be nothing at this point. Ron, you are a very kind man. Thank you for those extremely kind words. Then Hornets Rockets. I can understand what Birdie's saying, that the Rockets have they got the weight of the 20-game losing streak off their back, and they don't really have a lot to play for here. And the Hornets do have a lot to play for. But the Rockets are playing loosey-goose, and I'm going to move on the Timberwolves at +8.5. I'm going to move on the Grizzlies at -4.5. I'm going to move on the Spurs. I'm going to wait. I'm going to move on the Nets if Harden is out and I can get in the teens. If Harden out. And I'm going to move on the Hawks. So Hawks -3. Spurs at plus points at some point. Grizzlies -4.5. Timberwolves +8.5. And I'm going to move on the Celtics and to the Coupons and the Pacers early. Okay, so those are the main spots that I'm on for sure. Those 4 games I'm on for sure. And then possibly adding Celtics and Spurs late. There we go. And Birdie with an NFL future here. Browns to win the North at +190. Okay, so just to review my NHL action, I'm on the Calgary Flames -1 at -112. I believe that's the best bet on the board. Carlos Gomez, I'll post my action that I get to the window with. I'll post it on Twitter at Jimmy the Bag. Ray Charles says, I'll be shocked if Harden misses the game. I get it. Calgary Flames -1 at -112 is my favorite spot on the board. My second favorite spot is the Jets against my Canucks -1 +109. Those are my 2 favorite spots. Then I'm on Minnesota Wild -1.5 at +110. I'm on the Penguins -1.5 at -110, and I'm on Buffalo Pittsburgh under 6 at -120. And I would say the bet I like the least, or no, the bet I had a little bit of buyer's remorse with was the Penguins -1.5. Okay. So that's NHL. Then we've got NBA locked in, and we have Rod Zawacki. 10 play today is the Spurs plus points. Look at Rod Zawacki back in action too. Oh, man, it's great to see you. Matt Shedden said, take the Kings. You won't regret it. It's hard for me to trust this Kings squad, man. But I hear you. And maybe I'll put some more time onto it. Okay, well, let's just talk very briefly. And we're going to do our main breakdown of the Sweet 16 on Friday. But let's just talk about market moves and talk about sort of how we see these games being played out. The first 4 briefly, because we kind of want to keep this show kind of capped at an hour and a half. Saturday, March 27th, we have the Sweet 16 here. And we have this great article by Al Mack here. I'm popping into the chat. Just a great article on the betting trends. Rod Zawacki says, my Canucks are winning tonight. Well, we have 5 centers hurt right now. And so JT Miller can come over. But if you're backing them, you really need Horvat and Sutter, who are day-to-day to play. Because Beagle and Pettersson aren't playing. So if Horvat plays, and I think he might have played out of necessity, then I get it. Joe Freeze on the Canucks as well. And the Czar said the line is telling me the Sens are a 5 Czar lock. Good luck, Czar. There's nothing wrong with being on the other side of each other, and it makes these things, adds another element, another layer to the process. But if the Flames come home from a 1-3 road trip, and with 2 losses to the Senators, their season's over. And Daryl Sutter is just being hired. And it's just not acceptable. It just won't be acceptable. Sutter is just not somebody you mess with. That's how I see it. So the Flames are going to come out with reckless abandon. And the Flames' first period, and this is something I almost never do. I almost never take a favorite in the first period. They're plus 50 to. Charlie says, "What's up? What's your relationship with Mitch from Pick Dogs about?" Look, he dislikes me very much. I've never met him, never spoken to him. So I just there's a lot of touts out there that don't like me, and it is what it is. We got Rod Zawacki works over there, and I love Rod Zawacki. So I wish them all the best. I got, these a lot of guys that want your money don't like me because I don't want your money. I want your money to grow. So it is what it is. I wish Mitch the best, and I got nothing. Matt DeSaro in the house. Look at that. Coming to us live from Costa Rica. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the Sweet 16. We're just going to touch on Res Mob here joining us. Res Mob in the house. Okay, so very quickly, I put up the article that our Clint talking about the Flames stealing the game puck from that Sens kid last game. I don't know that story. I know that story, so I need to learn about it, Clint. So this article that Al Mac put out, very interesting, about the Sweet 16 trends. And one of the big trend is that the favorites smash in the Sweet 16. The favorite smash in the Sweet 16. And, with the vividness bias, the recency bias that we have after watching that first weekend of play, we make moves on dogs. And it generally bites us. And I did. I went in and I just thought that I was, at the time, I just felt like I was getting a better number than I was going to get. And I just felt like I needed to pull the trigger. And that's what I did. I took Oregon State plus 7. And look, Loyola looks so strong. But Oregon State has been 7 to 8.5 point dogs throughout the Pac tournament, throughout the first 2 rounds, and they keep winning. They're winning basketball games outright. And they have the type of length defensively that are going to give teams trouble. And I'm not sure. Look, Loyola is a very good basketball team, well coached and great structure. But I had to take the plus 7. Had to take the plus 7. And I did. And we'll break these games further. We don't have time to do it right now. And then, so with this opening Saturday, March 27th card, I took 3 of the 4 dogs here. I did not take Villanova. And I think this could be a tough spot. Well, it's obviously against Baylor. A very, very tough spot. Well, let's see what this market move is here. Where did I put it? The Villanova opens up at 6.5 point dogs. That's 7 at most books right now. And it's just not something, I just don't trust them. And in fact, it's probably time to pull the trigger on Baylor. I think it might be time to pull the trigger on Baylor here. I do. I think 7 points they can comfortably cover. Jacksonville, Zoe's already on Oral Roberts plus 11.5 and Syracuse plus 6.5. I didn't get the hook. I was a little late on Syracuse. I got 6. Oral Roberts opens up as 11-point dogs. It moves to 11.5. There are a couple books that are back to 11 now. The total here for the Oral Roberts spot opened up at 159, down to 158 at some books. And Arkansas is so deep. And we've watched Oral Roberts with this two-man game working. It's working. You have the highest score in all Division I basketball on the outside, and you have a Bulldog down low, and it's working. But Arkansas is so deep. I just couldn't help myself with the plus 11.5. I just felt like it was too many points. And Alex Ramirez says NCAA this season difficult. By the way, I opened up 7-14, and I put out my records out there. 7-14, down 8+ units, and then I went 7-1 in the second round, which saved me. So right now, my NCAA tourney, I am 14-15, down 2.30 units, down 7.93% is my ROI. Birdie says pressure moments. I worry about Oral in this one. I completely understand. Good says Villanova and Oregon State. I'm taking money line. Interesting. Good. I think it might be a spot where I move on Baylor, but I need a little bit more time. And then Syracuse. I've watched Boeheim do this in person, 2016 at the United Center in Chicago. I watched them knock out Virginia. I just now he's got his son hitting daggers. You knew that this team was for real when they had the game where Guerrier gets 2 points. I mean, two of their starters go for 5 points, and they win comfortably. I mean, that was a game where Boeheim went out for 30. But they just seem to be rolling at the right time. And Dennis Garcia says, Oral Roberts either going to win again or get blown out, but if they get blown out, under cashing too. Leonard Porch Jr. in the house. Thank you for joining us, Leonard Porch Jr. So we'll talk more, and we're going to put a bow on this show. But right now I'm on Oregon State +7, Oral Roberts +11.5, Syracuse +6. And I think this is the end of the road for Nova myself. And I think I'm going to move on Baylor at -7. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that. So in conclusion, let's break down the entire card for me. I'm on the Flames -1 at -112. And I think this team comes out angry. And I'm going to take them -0.5 at +150 in the first period. First period -0.5 at +150. And I don't like these bets. I don't do them usually. But I have to go with my gut here. And the Flames just can't return home. They just can't return home. 1-3 on this road trip with 2 losses to the Senators. Their season's over. So there's my man, Rod Zawacki. Yeah, we were all watching horses, and you were crushing them. And Tim Peel fixing games. Yeah, it's awful. Awful. But Zawacki, yeah, it was an absolute pleasure watching you hit the horse, destroy the huge scores in the horse races. It was a lot of fun, Rod. Thank you, Birdie. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go over. I'm not going to take the money line North Ender. It just goes against my rules. I can't take a -145 or -150. I have to take the Flames to score in the first period. I have to. Ben Martin talking about Florida Derby this Saturday. I can't wait for it. So Flames -1 at -112. And we're going to start getting horse racing shows back on air. So don't worry. Flames -1 at -112. And Flames first period -0.5 at +150. Then I'm on the Wild -1.5 at +110. It's already been bet. I'm on the Pens -1.5 at -110. Buffalo Pittsburgh under 6 at -120. And I'm on the Jets -1 at +109. Then in NBA, I'm going to move right away on Pacers first quarter, first half. And Sorry, here we go. And the Timberwolves plus 8.5, Grizzlies minus 4.5, and the Hawks at minus 3. Then I'm likely going to move on the Spurs and Celtics later. There's Robbie Tagaloa, the Samoan Thunder. And then I'm not going to add Baylor at this point. I'm going to talk about it a little more. Oh, nice, Michael Irvelina. Nice, Michael Irvelina. Let's get that cash back for you. Let's go. Thank you, Nilo. Much love to all you guys. Thank you so much for your support, you guys. I'm so happy to be back with you Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Let's get paid in full. Let's get that cash. But most importantly, Lecce. Hey, those bookmakers! Big shout out to everybody joining us. Johnny K, Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, Ben Martin, Rod Zawacki, Michael Irvelina, Robbie Tagaloa, Puzzler, Ben Martin, Imp, Ray Charles, Alex Ramirez, North Ender, Mr. Gogster. Oh, you guys, man. Birdie, Charlie, Almac, Alex Ramirez, star of the Spidey Play of the Day. All you guys, man. Vitalis. I missed you guys. It's nice to be back in action. See you guys tomorrow morning. But most importantly, let's get paid tonight. Get that cash. Let's go.